Holy shit. Wow, I can't believe that was the run. Good God, that last act was incredible. At least for my standards. That is... wow, dude. I had fully conceded that that run was dead. Not dead, but like, very likely dead. Holy shit, that is awesome. Untied, and more importantly, I really don't even give a shit that much. I just don't have to play this fucking song anymore. This song gave me a heart full of black having to grind it like this. Just one less incredibly annoying tick grind in this game to go. Fuck. It's funny how some songs, in the whole series, but I've noticed it in this game a lot, are just so much more optimized than certain others. So yeah, I essentially had a great first act, maybe optimal, maybe not, maybe there's a tick more or so. Fourth act was roughly average or slightly above. Fifth act was bad because of the whammy, and then the last act I just clutched out. Very likely the best I've ever had on that. So, again, overall, just super happy I don't have to play this bullshit anymore. Fuck! Yes! That is a good fucking score. That's basically what that 580 run that I missed by a frame should have been. Holy fuck, man. The nerves going into that last act back end are just fucked on this pace. Oh my god, I have spent way too long on this song. And for all the time that I've spent, I probably should have went for the upper bound more than I ended up doing, but at this point there's no point in fishing for more ticks. So if I ever do play this song again, it's just gonna be going for that upper bound as the sole intention, but I just was not happy with settling for that 61 tick ahead. and especially for that 64, just because of how disappointing of a record it was. Yep, star power ended frame perfect on the back end. That literally felt like the exact same run as the 580, except I activated a frame later, it felt like, on the last act. It's funny, because when I saw that 76 after the front end, I felt like, oh, okay, this should make it, because the 580 run was one frame away, but really, like, because of all the whammy, that's not, like, guaranteed by any means. It just reminded me of the infected reverse tick act in that regard, I guess. But yeah, that 564 run was particularly so disappointing because I was down 24 after Act 4 from my best. My best after Act 4 is 76, and that run I had 52. I'm finally starting to get a little more consistent with that 4th act front end. It's just an incredibly irritating execution. Still activated 2 frames before fretting this run, so at best abused 1 extended hit window frame. But I was very much contemplating just ditching extended hit window for that act, even with all the tick potential, just because, like, it's just, the execution is so dumb. What makes it particularly so awful, aside from the fact that it's fast strumming, and it's really hard to get a good grip on the front end timing when you have multiple strums behind it, but what made it so annoying to me personally was the yellow sustain beforehand, and part of quote-unquote figuring out that front end to at least stop missing on it so often was realizing that you actually do have a decent amount of space between that yellow sustain and the front end. It's just always so hard for me to get a grasp on how much time you have from the end of a sustain to the next note without dropping ticks because of no hyperspeed. But even that front end aside, that act is just so fucking stupid because of the phrase 2 and 3 whammies. At least in my opinion, just with how strict the dynamic hit window is. Most of the time that I missed on those 2 phrases, it wasn't even from strumming the actual sustain early. I would miss the note before it, strumming that too early, or not switching frets in time. It's just a really shitty setup. Of course, talked about this in the previous records, just don't know if I'm going to keep it in. The upper bound was impossible in TAS, and I never really had a run that convinced me that I should keep grinding it out. Even on runs that I missed the front end by strumming it late, I would still miss it on the back end pretty much every time. But who knows? Again, at this point, I have no reason to not go for it if I ever come back to this. Obviously, these ticks can be beaten. It's just I am not going to be the person to do so. As for the ticks that are left, I think this was a 20 optimal Act 1. What I can only assume is optimal because I've gotten it 100 times and never any higher. No, this was a 12, okay. So 8 more on there. I had to give myself at least a tick of leniency, a chord tick, because I couldn't just sit there and reset for an optimal Act 1, given that it's 5 frame perfect inputs and there's obviously all the rest of the song behind it, particularly 2 even harder ticking acts. That adjustment on the first act isn't just for preference though. I believe it is 1 chord tick better, so 8 points, than the path act. And that's kind of extra surprising because that adjusted front end on the chord is a frame less than the max dynamic hit window because it's misaligned with the strike line. And I am positive in that assessment after all the time I've spent with this. So in theory, it would probably be worth even 8 more on top of that. And past Act 4, I was still -8 from my PB. So I guess I had an above average Act 4, which I think I could kind of tell, at least on the front end in the run. It felt pretty good, even though, again, activated 2 frames before fretting. Really not sure how much is left on there. It's probably a decent bit, like 16. Let me check my whammy for that. Yeah, I really don't know what to make of that. It also kind of looks like a full bar. Now that I'm reviewing it, I don't think that's the case, but it's very close. Yeah, it's very close to a full bar. That would kind of make sense, honestly, because of how weirdly consistent my ticks for that act are, given all the whammy. So if that is a full bar act, then there's probably 8 more. Still maybe 16, depending on how good or bad my actual front-end execution was on my best runs. But if it's not a full bar, then yeah, I mean, dude, there could be like 32 left on it. My whammy for that act is just never amazing. Act 5, this was my PB on that as well. There's probably still another 8 on there. And then the last act, I don't know, man, none of my whammies were like perfect on there. So there could be another 12 at least. That's just crazy. So yeah, overall, 0.6 is probably possible. It's just the sum of averages, again, specifically because of Act 4, just makes this so difficult and irritating to grind out an optimized run on. But regardless, very satisfied with this. Okay. What the fuck? I feel a little bad that I missed 0.7 due to that, playing that last act so safe, but... What is this, dude? Lost almost 100 in ticks Ah, jeez. That is fucking crazy. Really did not have that much spare star power, so I actually probably would have thrown the run fishing for a .7 there. Another 4 ticks. What the fuck, man? First time I've ever hit that. Yeah, whammy looked absolutely perfect. Front end looked perfect. Star power ended frame perfect on the back end. I mean, again, part of me is ever so slightly irked that I didn't get .7 here, but I actually pushed, particularly Act 5, way harder than I should have. Well, actually, I can't even say that because the squeeze is actually... It's not tight by any means, but I feel like it's easily something I could have fucked up here. Man, I only had 2 frames of leniency and star power there, getting that squeeze. Because I just had to play everything so fucking safe. This is like 25 minutes after getting that tick run. But, like, that's kind of how it goes with this stuff. This is far from the first time this has happened, where I get a really good tick run and then end up getting the extra squeeze. But, like, getting all that experience from the tick runs is almost certainly what prevented me from throwing this run away after the second upper bound. Which I want to stress was impossible in TAS. I don't remember if it was by 1 frame or 2, but regardless, a double whammy squeeze, a double reset fresh whammy squeeze that's impossible in TAS and probably is frame perfect on hardware. Like, that is fucked up. And closing out the run. Holy shit, dude. Holy shit.